hasn't done anything wrong. This is my big bugbear.
Holly
I
is
knew
sat
this
next
would
to him.
happen. I knew
Holly
this would
is sat
happen.
next to
The
him.
attractive women like with Meghan Markle is just
do
going to
me
be
a
blamed
favour.
for everything. No, it really annoys me. And I said it 2 weeks ago to you.
She sat next to him the whole time. She co-signed his behaviour. Welcome to another episode of the Showbiz Showdown with me, JJ Anisiobi. This is still the only show in the whole TalkTV roster where we take one big burning issue or topic or question from the world of entertainment and we chop it up. Now, there's only been one show in town for the last 3 weeks, so we're going to continue with it. Big question. Should This Morning be axed? Yes, obviously it should. They've lied to us. They've lied to you. They think you are a mug and they think they can just force this out and stand behind their moles and hide and do a cover-up of a cover-up of a cover-up. I say the public have had enough. We've stopped watching. The advertisers have pulled out. It's time that this show got put in the can. And trust me, nobody will be mourning this morning. See what I did there?
Oh, God, that was awful.
Joining me across the table, because this show is all about balance, we have author, feminist, columnist, and expert in journalism showbiz. Rebecca Twomey, welcome to the show.
Thank you. That's quite an intro.
Oh, it's one you deserve.
Oh,
Now,
I feel honoured.
the big question, should This Morning be axed? Yes.
No.
Well, okay. Go on then. Go on.
Well, first up, what we've got to ask is the scandal is associated with Schofield, right? He is not This Morning. This Morning is a separate show. And as Eamon Holmes said in his interview earlier this week, is that even when Eamon and Ruth were presenting on the Fridays, the viewership didn't go down. So what that says is that actually people are connecting with This Morning, a programme. And what also are ITV going to fill in that slot? All that's going to happen, if they close down This Morning, they're just going to recreate a whole new show with exactly the same format, all the same people working on it, and possibly the same corruption will be allowed to happen if the same individuals are still working behind the scenes.
So here's the thing. That's exactly what they should do. They should definitely can This Morning and make another show that's exactly the same and probably called The Morning or Good Morning ITV or whatever it's going to be called. Yeah. It'll have a change of set. It needs a new face. It's not a few tweaks, a few repairs. They need a complete fascia change. They need a complete restoration of the show. Holly Willoughby, currently at the moment, at time of recording, she's still a presenter for This Morning. She's got to go. Phillip and you can say Phil is not bigger than the show, but the past few weeks, figures have dropped. So this isn't back in the day when it was steady coasting for the show in general. This is after scandal, after Qgate. The British public are sick of This Morning. They're sick of Holly Willoughby. They're sick of Phillip Schofield. Holly must think that we are mugs. She must think you are a mug. You like watching this video. She must think you are all mugs because she's trying to claim to us that she had no idea about Phil and his affair. She didn't know what was going on. I don't work at This Morning, and I knew this was going on. I'd heard those rumours. How did she not know this?
Well, we all heard those rumours in journalism. I've been going around the houses for absolute years. But I said this recently on your show about Holly. I knew she would have to be the full person for this fiasco. As far as we're aware, at the time of which we're speaking right now, Holly has done nothing wrong. We don't actually know all the facts. We don't know exactly what she knew. Did she know about these cars? We don't know if there were cars with this younger gentleman going from Schofield's house to the studio. We don't actually know all the specifics. We don't know that she didn't raise alarm bells and express her concerns or make complaints higher up the chain at ITV. We don't actually know that.
I think if she'd made complaints, she'd have come out and said it by now. Because all she said so far is she found it hurtful to find out about the affair. Now, at the start of the show, you quoted Eamon Holmes. So you're okay to quote Eamon for some parts, but not for other parts.
I'm a journalist. That's what we do.
Eamon
like
is
a lawyer.
Eamon's the one who lifted the lid on the car, saying that there was a car picking up the young man.
Yeah.
I almost said his name. There's a car picking up the young man
from
Phil's address and bringing him to the studio on a Friday.
Because Thursday was playtime when he and Philip would hit the town, and then he obviously stayed overnight, and there are records to show that he was brought in the next day.
Someone has to book that car, as we know in TV.
Yeah.
Someone books that car. So one of these bookers or producers books that car, and they think, that's weird. This kid's always coming in from Phil's address every Friday, and he's going home with Phil on a Thursday night. That's strange. That booker tells another booker, who tells another mate, who tells another mate, who tells a cameraman, who tells a sound person. It gets around the studio. Somehow it leaks over to me, and I don't work there. And you're still going to claim that Holly was immune to that?
I'm not saying she was immune to it. We don't actually know, and we can't really speak for Holly. I just don't think it's fair that lots of people knew. If you're saying, we all know how gossip spreads, particularly in showbiz journalism, lots of people knew, but how many people acted and how many people were able to act on that information? If you're talking about someone maybe in the lower echelons of TV, might be on a freelance contract, might be their first job, that might not have the confidence to speak up, it might not have been the right environment to speak up. Holly was in a position of power. I take that. But maybe she was scared for her job, because Phil had been on that show a lot longer than Holly.
Absolutely.
And when you look at Holly's career, really she came into her own when she was paired up with Phil on Dancing on Ice, and then they moved into This Morning together. And you can really see her grow as a presenter, as a broadcaster, and also as a celebrity and a brand of her own. But maybe she felt some sense of loyalty. I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but at this moment she said she wasn't aware of all the different specifics with Phil.
Done. So I can fully understand you saying, well, perhaps Holly knew. As a journalist, back when I used to do a proper job, I had emailed this morning. I'd emailed Phil's agents about rumours circulating about him, and they were always denied, and I was always threatened with legal.
Yeah, that's common, isn't it, in showbiz? We've all had that.
Yeah. And thankfully, Katie Hind at the Daily Mail was able to push this forward recently, I think just last week, and had Phil apologise to her. Phil put out a statement apologising for lying to the journalists, etc., etc.
That's amazing, because people always, can they believe showbiz journalists now when we do our job? Because most of those people think we're liars.
That is it. But ITV have just lied continually to cover up for Phil. That's what they did. They lied. Even as far as 4 weeks ago, when everyone was saying there's tension between Holly and Phil, they're not speaking, Phil puts out a statement saying she's my rock. She always has been.
Yeah.
4 days later, he has to resign. So that was another lie. They've just continued to lie to the public, and this is why This Morning is irrevocably damaged. Because as you say, the rot is not just from Phil; it's now gone through the whole of that company. So Holly has to resign, otherwise she'll be sacked. Holly's got to go, and Martin Frizzell's got to go, and Dame Caroline, the chief executive of ITV, she's also got to go. When they get rid of those people, and then they rebrand This Morning, take the summer off, take 2 months off, give the studio a new refit.
But rebranding it is really, it's still going to be the same programme. And that's the point I'm making. You can just put new presenters in, have exact same format, but it will still be This Morning, even if you give it a new name. If it's still going to be at that time slot on ITV and a magazine-style show, it's just going to be This Morning.
Look, we've got TV AM, GMTV, GMB. It works. When you want to change something, you've got to change the faces, because unfortunately we're just people at home watching TV, right? We're fickle. We see something new and shiny, that changes for us. But if we see the same people again, i.e. Holly Willoughby, and as you say, it's people behind who are making the big decisions aren't moved out, and we bring in some fresh talents, then nothing's going to change.
But people are still connecting with Alison Hammond and Dermot O'Leary. People like them as presenters, and they are the new face of This Morning. And I think if ITV are clever and they just pivot and keep pushing those two as the main kind of branding of This Morning, I do think it can continue, because I don't see what is the point of shutting it down to just open up exactly the same thing again. It's just a PR exercise.
It's PR exercise to bring in money.
But you're assuming the public are that stupid.
I'm assuming the public will be okay with that. The public will see that as a mere culprit of ITV. They think that show's too bad, and they've got rid of it. And we've brought you in a different show, different title, the same family feel, but with new presenters. Dermot and Alison are not so connected to This Morning as Holly and Phil are. They've only been doing it for less than a year together. So they're not nowhere near as connected to that show as everyone else is.
But I think the show is bigger than the celebrities who present it. And it's just, I want to make the point as well with ITV, is what's really interesting is that some shows survive massive scandal and some don't.
What?
Love Island. Okay, we're talking about, the tragedy of multiple suicides with contestants and Caroline Flack. And yet that show continued. They changed their duty of care, and people are still engaging. Advertisers are still engaging with that show. And, they've got new presenters. They've had, on their second presenter after Caroline now. That's very, very interesting, because if people are still watching Love Island, they're still connecting with the brand despite the scandal, not on the level of This Morning, I take that, but it's still a scandal. If This Morning still attracts viewers and it still has advertisers, then it doesn't really need a rebranding.
But it doesn't. And with your point about Love Island itself has been dwindling with viewers since Caroline left.
But it's still very popular.
It's still popular. This Morning has lost 175,000 viewers in the past few weeks, and they've lost their biggest cash sponsor, Arnold Clark's Cars, whatever it's called. So commercially, this is not the BBC. This is a commercial entity. The stockholders want to see cash. If they're losing their biggest sponsor and they're losing audience figures, well, then other sponsors are going to say, well, why are we paying this money when we've now got 200,000 less eyes on our product? No, we're going. So they've got to change the brand to save the brand.
When Holly, if she does come back next week after half term, how many people are going to be watching Holly's reaction on This Morning?
100%.
That's going to skyrocket viewership. And if she continues, I do actually believe people will start watching it. And if people keep watching it, people will pay to advertise against it.
People will watch so they can go on social media and say, oh, she's so fake. I can't stand her. Why is she back on here? Why on ITV doing something about this? Next week, the ITV bosses are going to be grilled by a select committee.
As they should be.
As they should be. And I think we're going to learn about a few more twists and turns in this snake. The scandal is only going to continue. And let's not forget, the young man at the centre of the allegations who did date Phil Schofield, he's going to have his day soon to speak. And when that comes out, I don't think it'll be possible for all of these people at ITV to hide behind the excuse of we didn't know. So ITV should not be, they're not any better than anyone else. If someone in your company does wrong and the people who are in a position to stop the wrongdoing say, well, actually, he's our biggest star, we're going to protect him instead. Because what they did was they protected Philip. Now it's all come out. And now they're protecting Holly. And soon it's going to come out again. And what's going to happen to Holly
But
is...
Holly hasn't done anything wrong. This is my big bugbear.
Holly
I
is
knew
sat
this
next
would
to him.
happen. I knew
Holly
this
is
would
sat
happen.
next to him.
The attractive women like with Meghan Markle is just
do
going to
me
be
a
blamed for
favour.
everything. No, it really annoys me. And I said it 2 weeks ago to you.
She sat next to him the whole time. She co-signed his behaviour.
She didn't co-sign his behaviour.
She
She doesn't
co-signed
know what went on between him behind closed doors. She might have been his friend. She might have been loyal to a certain
not
point.
just his friend. Come on. The act of those two was we're best friends. We holiday
Yeah,
together.
you know how it works on camera.
we go
I'm
out
saying you're my best mate. And I
They go
can't
out
stand
drinking
you.
together. They're the best of buds.
Yeah.
But clearly that was all fake then. Because if you didn't know actually about this guy's private life, but everyone else who doesn't work on the show knew about it, how can you
But
even...
not everyone did. People have different experiences on This Morning.
I've never been on This Morning and I knew about Phillip Schofield's private life.
Yeah, because we're showbiz journalists. It's our job to know what's going on. But there's different experiences on This Morning. ITV, there are certain characters at ITV who are going to have to take the hit for this and are to blame, who could have been fully aware what was going on with the taxis, with what you just mentioned, the NDA and that payoff. There are people that fully aware should be responsible. But I don't think Holly or This Morning, the show itself, and all the hardworking, brilliant people that work on that show should pay the price for someone else's bad decision making and not acting.
Completely disagree. Move This Morning up to Manchester, film it from there. London's done, it's tainted. Let the rest of the country have some of this love and call it a different name. But get rid of Holly, get rid of Frizzell, and get rid of Dame Carolyn. That's it. This Morning can no longer last. But look, Rebecca thinks she's right. I know she's wrong. You know she's wrong. So make sure you say so in the comments below. Tell us exactly what you think. Is it time that This Morning got put in the bin? Yes, of course it is. So support me down there in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay up to date with all Talk TV content. See you next time.